India has a rich history of mantras being handed down orally through a structured verbal tradition. The first scriptural mention of the Gayatri mantra has been found in the Rig Veda, the oldest of the Vedas. The holy mantra also finds a mention by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita in chapter 10. Verse 35. Lord Krishna says, Gayatri Chandasam Aham, meaning of the mantras, I am Gayatri. In order to find out, let us go back in time, to the world of sages and Brahma Rishis, to the world of kings and kingdoms, to the world of Brahma Rishi Vashisht and King Kaushika. The beginning? The valiant King Kaushika was returning with his large army and entourage. They had just won a long and arduous battle and were looking forward to returning home. The troops were charged by their victory, but also very tired. They needed rest. But most importantly, they needed food and clean drinking water. Where do I find a place to rest and food to feed my troops in this dense forest? Kaushika wondered. Just then, one of his trusted admirals came forward and suggested, I have heard that the ashram, hermitage, of Brahma Rishi Vashisht is nearby. Shall we go there and rest for some time? The hermitage may not be big enough for us to get food and water for the whole army. But I am sure we can relax there for some time and figure out what to do next. With no other suggestions in sight and also longing to meet a sage for some comfort, after the many days of battle, Kaushika agreed. When they reached Vashisht's hermitage, King Kaushika prostrated reverentially before the Brahma Rishi, a title only bestowed to one who has attained great spiritual merit. He had heard much about the Holy One. But the sight that warmly greeted him was something that took him pleasantly by surprise. With a long flowing beard and matted locks, the Brahma Rishi had a divine glow about him. He was said to be as old as the Brahmanda, and yet there was a youthfulness and completeness in his countenance. Medium build, lithe, hiding the strength of many moons of penance within, he looked like a streak of lighting coursing through the night sky, as he glowed towering bright in their presence. The Holy One said, Welcome to my humble hermitage, O King. You and your troops look very tired. Please feel free to rest here as long as you like. Give me some time. I will arrange a hot meal for all of you. Kaushika was perplexed. With all due respect, Holy One, I come here with a very large army. You live in a small hermitage. How can you feed all of us? We thank you for your hospitality. We will rest here for some time and progress with our search for food. Vashisht smiled a benevolent smile. He said, O King, you underestimate the power of penance. I am a Brahma Rishi. For the one who does not seek anything worldly, for the one who has dedicated her life to knowing the truth, anything is possible. Leave your doubts to rest. There is a beautiful stream nearby. Why don't you take your men and wash up, take a dip in the river? Hot food will be served when you return. Kaushika was not convinced, or sage. Are you sure? He said. I do not see many pupils in your hermitage. How do you propose to cook this elaborate meal for all my men? I don't want a situation where some of us are fed, and some are not. Vashisht raised his eyebrows. Still smiling, he responded with a glint in his eye, Don't worry, O King. Please proceed to the stream. Perplexed, but too tired to argue anymore, Kaushika directed his men to go to the stream nearby. The stream was beautiful, but the water was a little murky. How can he give us a good meal when he can't even give us clear water, he thought. Nevertheless, they did as they were told. After taking a dip and refreshing themselves, the huge entourage returned to the ashram. Vashisht was ready for them. When they sat down for a meal, they were not sure what to expect. But they were astonished by what ensued thereafter. Plates laden with the choicest of dishes and glasses filled with divine drinks were served. Crystal clear drinking water followed. Eat to your heart's content. Vashisht said. There is no dearth of food here. The army was so content and satisfied after the meal that they lied down for a nice nap under the cool breeze of the forest. This was so much more than what they had hoped for. Kaushika, however, was still puzzled and restless. He walked up to Vashisht and asked him, O sage, how is this possible? You have very few disciples in your hermitage and live in a dense forest. How did you prepare this excellent feast for us? Please tell me your secret. There is no secret. Vashisht said kindly. Indra has blessed me with a calf named Nandini. She is the calf of Kamadhenu, who is a wish-fulfilling cow. I respect Nandini like my mother. She fulfills and provides for everyone in this ashram. Kaushika was pleasantly surprised. But this feeling stayed for less than a minute. After all, human beings are easily corrupted. What need does an ascetic living in the forest have for a wish-fulfilling calf, he thought. She is better off with me. I could feed everyone in my kingdom. We would never run out of food. My kingdom and army will be the best in the world. I could win any battle, any kingdom, any territory. They would all bow before me. No one would dare oppose me. So how does this work, he asked, wanting to find out more before he strikes. Can I ask this calf to provide me with anything at all? Does she grant all wishes including gold and diamonds? Vashisht smiled a sad smile. He knew where this was headed. Yes. She does, he said. She grants all your wishes in the present. But not any past or future wishes. That goes against the fabric of nature. Kaushika pondered for a few seconds, then suddenly straightened up. Exerting his will as the king, he got straight to the point. You must give me this calf, he said. You are an ascetic living in a dense forest. What use do you have of this wish-fulfilling calf? I, on the other hand, am the king. The entire kingdom could benefit if the calf stays with me. Vashisht was kind, but firm. That cannot be. He said. Nandini lives with me because she chooses to. It is my duty to protect her. You cannot take her against her will. It is not dharma. Kaushika was amused. We are talking about a calf here, he almost cackled. Her choice or otherwise is not my concern. I command you as your king. Send this wish-fulfilling calf with me of your own accord. Otherwise, my men will take it from you by force. Kaushika's men had great respect for their king. His wish was their command. Some of them went to Nandini and untied the calf from her post. Why are you giving me away? She asked Vashisht. What have I done? Have I not granted all your wishes? I am very happy here. I do not wish to leave. Vashisht replied kindly, they want to take you by force, mother. I will do my duty to protect you with the power of my penance. But I seek your blessings to proceed. As the commotion ensued, Vashisht whispered a mantra and performed a kriya. He immobilized Kaushika and his army. They stood rooted in their spot, unable to move their bodies, but only able to talk. Minutes turned into hours, their bodies became heavy and the weight started becoming unbearable. The army begged Vashisht, but he was unmoved. He tied Nandini back to her post and waited patiently until the king spoke. Kaushika was helpless. He could not see his men waste away like this. He gave up his ego and begged Vashisht to release them. Vashisht obliged only after Kaushika promised never to attack his hermitage to steal Nandini. They returned to their palace, but the story was not yet over. Kaushika was humiliated in front of his men. He had to beg for forgiveness from a rishi, a man with no weapons, no army. His heart seethed with the fire of revenge. Being a Kshatriya and a true king, he had won battle after battle. His subjects loved him and his enemies cowered before him. He was considered almost invincible. And yet, here was a sage, with no armor, no weapons, no army. And he had dared to stop the mighty Kaushika and his army. What sorcery did he possess? He remembered with rage and some clarity that Vashisht had whispered a mantra before he immobilized the entire army. That silent power of penance. Yes. That was it. That is the source of Vashisht's powers. If he had to defeat Vashisht, this is what he would seek. That would truly make him invincible. He would then challenge Vashisht and get his revenge. Nothing else would do to quench the fire in his heart. Kaushika decided, I will no longer conquer territories. No longer do I wish to be a king who lords over his subjects. I wish to possess that greatest power that Vashisht wields with his penance. He gave up his kingdom, left his family, moved to the forest and went into a deep penance. Days passed into months, months turned into years, years passed into decades. Kaushika was unyielding. He had to get the power of that sage, nothing else would do. They say that Kaushika prayed to Lord Shiva for many decades with great fervor and devotion. Chanting the mantra that would invoke Lord Shiva, he waited patiently. Lord Shiva finally appeared to Kaushika in all his splendor and glory. Kaushika asked for the only boon that mattered to him. He begged, O glorious one, please grant me this boon. I desire all the weapons of destruction, all the astras and shastras that will annihilate my enemies when I cast the weapons on them. So be it, said Lord Shiva and disappeared. Drunk with the newfound power of his penance, Kaushika proceeded to Vashisht's hermitage and challenged him to battle. If Vashisht was surprised, his countenance did not reveal it. He warmly welcomed Kaushika, but also gave a quoted warning and said, Welcome king. There is no need for us to fight. I still cannot give you Nandini. Or do you forget the promise that you made me when I set you and your army free all those years ago? Kaushika said seethingly, I am not here for Nandini. I am here for you. Get ready to face me in battle. Vashisht stood firmly rooted in his spot with only his staff in his hand. I am ready, he said. Kaushika unleashed weapon after weapon on Vashisht. Vashisht warded them all with his staff. Some went helter-skelter and some were merely immobilized or absorbed by the staff. When all the weapons were spent, Vashisht tilted his staff and chanted a mantra in soft tones, letting out an orb of energy that made Kaushika lose his balance and fall flat on the ground. Towering down on Kaushika, he said, You are my guest. I will hurt you no more. Go away from here, Kaushika. I see that you have gained great merit through penance. Don't spend that merit frivolously by fighting with me to quench your pride and ego. He walked away, leaving Kaushika feeling ashamed and helpless. I have spent so many years in penance, Kaushika thought. I have gained the blessings of Lord Shiva and obtained massive weapons of destruction, and yet I cannot even defeat a weaponless sage. I cannot even get a small calf. He decided that he would pray to Lord Shiva no more. The only recourse left was to go to the seat of creation itself, the golden womb, the first cell. He would pray to Hiranyagarbha and seek out Lord Brahma. Severe penance followed, and a few more decades went by. Finally Brahma appeared and gave Kaushikathe Brahmastra. Where other weapons may fail you, this weapon will not, Brahma said. But before he left, he gave a warning. It is my duty to reward a devotee who has prayed as ardently as you have. I cannot deny you your boon. But heed my words carefully. This weapon is not to be trifled with. Use it wisely. Kaushika, however, did not care for the warning. He had endured hardships all these years only for one reason. And he intended to use the Brahmastra for that very reason. The destruction of Vashisht. Giddy with pride and infused with great confidence, he marched towards Vashishta ashram one more time. As he unleashed the sacred Brahmastra towards the sage, Vashisht did something completely unexpected. He bowed down in great reverence towards the sacred weapon. Who was he to fight against Brahma's astra? He would submit and pay his respects instead. In an instant the scared Brahmastra circled around Vashisht in acceptance of his reverence and vanished, returning to Brahma. Dejected and completely worn out, Kaushika finally accepted his defeat. What is your secret, Vashisht? He asked. Is it in that staff that you carry? Why can I not defeat you, no matter how hard I try? Vashisht felt great pity for this man who had spent a lifetime trying to defeat him. It is not my power, O king, the sage said. It is but who I am. You see, this is the greatest secret of the universe. You are not defined by what you have or what you can do. You are defined by who you are, in the depths of your being. The universe always knows. The sage continued, your penance and all the boons and merits that you have gained were misdirected towards harming me. You sought vengeance. But you have not yet sought the divinity in you that is waiting to be found. Seek out your divinity, Kaushika. Nothing else matters. And in that instant Kaushika finally understood. He decided, no more am I going to harbor this animosity towards anyone. I am going to work to tap into that super consciousness within me, that untapped divinity that is waiting to be found. I wish to know the truth. Quietly he took Vashisht's leave and went deep into the forest. Sitting determined in penance, he explored his inner being until he reached his very core. His life so far, what he had said and done, how he had lived, did not matter. He realized that he no longer sought glory or Vashisht's defeat. He wanted to know the truth. Who was he? What is this so-called divinity inside him? Relentless in his pursuit, he sat in penance. Did he stay this way for days, months or years? He did not know. All he knew was that he would not give up until he had found what he was seeking. Little by little he transcended his ego, his arrogance, his worldly attachments, his pride, and one day, one fateful day, he finally transcended himself. In that state of super consciousness, as he sat most gloriously, enshrined in the divine, a sacred mantra was revealed to him. The holiest of holies, this mantra was the invocation of the divine that could dispel all darkness and ignorance, that consisted of a sacred congregation of sounds and syllables, the chanting of which in time could free one from misery and suffering and help lead a happy life, could fulfill one's wildest dreams and hopes, a mantra that could eventually lead to enlightenment. The sacred mantra that was bestowed by the divine on Kaushika came to be known as the Gayatri Mantra. He became its seer and first practitioner. The Gayatri Mantra in Devanagari script reads as follows. Om Bhur Bhuva Suvaha. Tat Savitur Varenya. Bhargo Devasya Dhimhi. Dio Yona Prachodit. Meaning, let us meditate upon the glory of God, the creator of the universe, who is worthy of worship, who is the embodiment of knowledge and light, who is the remover of all sins and ignorance. May she enlighten our intellect. Kaushika's role was to pass on this mantra to humanity so that humanity could benefit. He was a messenger of the divine and his role was to leave behind a legacy. He finally understood the reason he had to endure all those hardships. He had a role to play. From Kaushika, the emperor who had captured one kingdom after another, all he wanted to do now was capture the hearts of the people and guide them. On and on he went, teaching and sharing this sacred mantra for the benefit of humanity. He taught kings, princes, commoners and anyone worthy of learning the sacred mantra. In time, he came to be known as the great Vishwamitra, a friend of the whole world, and also reached the exalted state of Brahma Rishi. Even to this day, when the rishis of old are mentioned, his name is taken with great respect. Since the time of Vishwamitra, many practitioners have chanted this mantra and benefited greatly from it. Even today, in many parts of the world, young men at the cusp of adulthood are granted the Diksha of this mantra. For one who wishes to begin practicing this mantra, one only needs to start. For the mantra has already been invoked by Vishwamitra. The door is wide open. A portal to another dimension. All we need to do is walk through it to experience the untold benefits and grace that has been bestowed upon us. Thank you and best wishes. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe for more.